Hi guys, welcome back to Chess the Matthew. So on this video we will tackle about a chess trap that exists in the two knights defense. So the set opening start with the move e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4 and knight f6. So on this position we shall reach the opening of two knights defense, and here the white plays the move knight g5, pressurizing the f7 pawn with only one defender versus two attacker. So here the black tries to defend the attack on f7 by blocking it with the move d5. So we shall see in this position that the bishop and knight was now disconnected from the attack on f7, but here the white can simply capture that pawn, and after, for example, knight takes d5, here comes down the knight takes f7 with a fork threat on the f7 square. So the black here captured the knight on f7, and here comes now the queen f3, and after the move queen e6, trying to have some defense to his bishop on d5 with two attacker versus two defender. So here the white add some attack with the move knight c3, so we shall see that there is now three attackers versus two defender on the knight on d5. So the black here reinforced a defense with the move knight b4, and after the move knight d4, it has also a threat of forking the king and rook. And after the white here plays the move d4, the black now plays the move knight takes c2, giving a check and an attack on the rook on h1. But this is actually a trap for white, because after the move king d1, knight takes e1, shall see on this position that the knight on d5 has only two defender. So here comes now the bishop takes, and after, for example, king d6, trying to escape the check, but there's again knight b5, giving a check again to the king, and after king d7, queen f5 with a check, and after the only square that he can go is e7 and e8, and for example after the king move, it is now checkmate after 14 moves, after queen f7 checkmate, because the queen was actually defended by the bishop. So the black king is checkmated on e8. So going back, another trap against the two knights defense after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight f6. There's another way. Instead of playing knight g5, here comes again another d4 line that have a tricky trap for white. For example, after e takes d4, the white here can simply castle on the king side, and after, for example, bishop c5, defending the e4 pawn versus two attackers and two defenders. So here comes now the e5, trying to attack the knight, and the black here counter with d5, and after, for example, e takes f6, d takes c4, and rook e1 check. So the black here defend the check with the move bishop e6, black needing the check from the rook. So on this position, the black has no check, but there is again a simple f takes g7, trying to attack the rook, and after the rook moves, here comes now the bishop g5, trying to attack the queen, and after the queen escape to d5, there is a simple knight c3. This knight c3 is untouchable, because if the d5 will be open, then the queen will lose, because this bishop on e6 was actually pinned and he cannot perform a defense to his queen. And after the move queen e5, knight e4 and rook takes, but there is a simple knight h4, and we shall see in this position that this queen has no skipping square to go, because it was attacked by the knight, and this knight was actually defended, and this bishop is totally defended with the knight, and he cannot go f6 because of the bishop. And again, this diagonal, there's a queen and pawn, and the only square that the black queen can go is this square. But for example, if he actually move his queen to d5, there is a knight fork against the black king and queen. And if, for example, he will also go for queen e5, there is still knight f6 check, opening some lines for the rook, and the queen will be lost totally in this position. So again, another trap. For example, After e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6. Instead of playing the move knight g5, there's another line that play the move d4 that gives a trap for white after, for example, capture, castle, bishop c5, e5 attacking the knight, d5 countering an attack on the bishop of white, and after, for example, white takes, black takes, rook e1, and the cover. And again, there's another line for white that gives a trap against the black after the move knight g5, because here, if the black here play the move queen to d5, again there is knight to c3, that again this c3 knight is untouchable because the d5 will be open, and again this bishop on e6 is actually pinned by this rook, and he cannot actually perform a defense to his d5 queen. And after, for example, queen f5, knight c e4, and after a retreat, a black bishop to defend his g7, but there's just a simple knight takes f7, attacking the rook, and after king takes, knight g5 again, giving a check to the king, and with a dual attackers on the e6 bishop, and after king g8, g4, attacking the queen. And here, for example, if the black takes this pawn, there's just a queen capture, and after the bishop capture the g4, there is a checkmate in 1 to the f7 square, and after, for example, a capture, trying to eliminate the threat on f7 checkmate, but there is just rook takes e6. The rook cannot be captured because it was actually defended by the knight, and after queen d8, queen f3, threatening to mate in 1 again, and after queen d7, trying to defend f7, but there is just rook e7, and after a capture and trying to defend again the f7, but the white here goes to another way after the move queen to d5 check, and the black here was forced to cover a check with the queen, and still after 19 moves, the white wins with a checkmate against the black king. So going back into the Tunis defense with the moves of e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight f6, the trap that actually exists after knight g5 and d5, it takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes f7, king takes, queen f3 check, king e6, and knight c3, knight b4, and after the move d4, the trap start here after capture on c2, in which the black here actually mated on the f7 square. The only defense that exists here after the move d4 is to reinforce a defense on the d5 with the move c6, and tries to sidestep against the trap that exists on this position after the move knight takes c2 check. And another defense against the trap of the Tunis defense after the move d4, it takes d4, castle, bishop c5, e5, d5, e takes, d takes, rook e1, cover, pawn takes d7, and rook g8, bishop g5, attacking the queen. And after queen d5, in which the black queen here was actually trapped after the move knight c3, f5, knight a4, rook takes, and knight h4. To sidestep the trap after this position with the move bishop g5 of white is to play the move bishop e7 and try to cover the attack against the bishop on g5, and later on the black will play queen d7 and castle on the queen side with a small game to follow. And another defense against the trap of white after the move d4, it takes d4, castle, bishop c5, e5, d5, a takes, d takes, rook e1, cover, and the move knight g5 of white. So again, after the move queen d5 of black, knight c3, queen f5, knight c e4. The trap here starts after the move f8 by just defending the f7, because actually after knight f7, king takes, and knight g5, the black king here was actually in danger, and he actually checkmated on the g8 square after g4, queen takes, rook takes, queen d8, queen f3, and queen move, rook move, queen move, queen d5, cover, and checkmate. So after this knight ce4, the only defense that exists here to avoid the trap is to castle on the queen side, and without worrying that the white here may capture the g7, because actually the black here can just play the move rook to g8 and try to regain the g7 pawn on this position. So after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, the two knights defense. Although there are traps that the white may prepare, but again with a precise move and a precise defense, the black can still avoid those traps. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe.